about MCVRC's mission and how it came to be. The work the organization does is critical for so many, many people. It's critical for many victims. Although you may often hear about homicides, MCVRC supports victims of all crimes. Tonight, as you've already seen, the heart of their mission is with Joy Kingsley-Ibeh. I first met Joy as a CEO and a fashion stylist. We often crossed paths at area fundraising events, and then our connection and our friendship grew. Little did I know that Joy is a homicide survivor twice over. Her story, her family's story, their resilience touched me, and I know it will touch you too. So I ask that you put on your listening ears and put your hands together and help me welcome to the stage my friend Joy to share more of her story.
Good evening, everyone. Wow, it's great to be here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here to support survivors. And I know that I'm speaking in a room full of other survivors, and I'm a little nervous, so pardon the nerves, please. But thank you, Sean. I'm eternally grateful for you being here for my family and I, and for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to do this for us. As Sean mentioned, the theme for this year is how would you help? What a coincidence that this theme occurs when I recently found myself asking the same question. In my profession, I often support great causes, and there are so many good ones out there. But tonight is personal. Tonight, I am making moves to help an organization that has helped my family and continues to stand by our side. My family's connection to MCVRC dates back to 1985. My family had recently migrated to the US from Nigeria and just moved to Maryland. My dad took a part-time job at a local gas station, working nights and going to school during the day to support his family. The gas station was within walking distance from our home, and my mother and father would walk home together on nights when they worked the same shift. My mother worked at a thrift store across the street. May 25th, 1985. It started like any other day. My father was not scheduled to work, and my mom worked the late shift that evening. About midday, his job called and asked if he would cover for a sick coworker. He took the shift to make some extra money and have a chance to walk my mom home that evening. Like clockwork, my mom walked over across the street to meet him and help him close. As my father was in the front of the gas station closing the cash register, through the glass, my mom can see two young boys walking around the front of the store to the front of the store. No more than a minute later, the boys entered through the front door with ski masks on and a gun pointed straight at my father. My mom stood there frozen, watching, not sure what to do. They asked for the money, and my father gave it to them, and they begged them not to shoot. They shot him, once in the chest. My father died in my mother's arms. As you can imagine, this was traumatic, earth-shattering loss for a young immigrant family, leaving my mother with 4 young children, all under the age of 12. At this time, my mother was unaware of MCVRC. One morning during my dad's murder trial, she was met at the courtroom entrance with a much-needed hug from a stranger. This stranger was no other than our founder, Roberta Roper. They walked into the courtroom and sat next to each other. With Roberta was other members of MCVRC, and they have continued to be at subsequent court proceedings since then. The process that followed was filled with emotions, including stress about the next steps, to care for 4 small kids, and confusion about what steps were to be taken through the court proceedings. My mother was so fortunate to have MCVRC by her side, advising and guiding her through victims' rights and impact statements, and even helping her process the loss. The things she learned through this process would be invaluable. 12 years later, in 1997, our family was struck by crime a second time. I was 21 years old when my older brother, Manny, was murdered in a home invasion. The brother who always made me feel cool was struck down by gun violence, creating another hole in our family. The crime occurred in Virginia this time, and the resources were not available. We took what we learned from MCVRC to maneuver through the system, yet again. As you saw in the video that we shared earlier, MCVRC was again at our side earlier this year. Even 39 years after my father's murder, one of MCVRC's attorneys, Johan, where are you at, Johan? Thank you. Thank you. Helped us maneuver through yet another appearance, a parole hearing. MCVRC has been following our case, and they never forgot about us. Johan called us to see how he could assist. This time, as you can see, I took a significant role in creating a victim impact statement and going to the penitentiary. 39 years later, MCVRC is still by our side, which I know is not the case for many victims and survivors. So today, I stand before you as a survivor, as a CEO, a former professional athlete, all because MCVRC stood by my family's side and helped us navigate through the worst times of our lives. So I thank you all for being here. Your support, your donations helps families like ourselves. So please continue to do so. Thank you.
Joy's mom and her brother are here. Absolutely. Joy, you and your family are survivors. Your resilience and your strength and your commitment to still share your story and help others is so incredibly admirable. Thank you so much for sharing that. We really, really appreciate it.